Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, I am no Mikhail Tal, okay? Arguably the greatest attacking chess player of all time. I am no Mikhail Tal. However, sometimes I do feel kinda like the man. When I sacrifice a piece, the eval bar often tells me it's a blunder, but sometimes, on the rare occasion that it's a brilliancy, it is the most fun you will ever have in chess. Like, attacking chess just trumps everything, okay? Even if you beat, like, the highest rated player you've ever beat, you want to just be playing attacking chess. It is so much fun, okay? In this video, I'm going to be showing you a couple of games where I just turn my brain off. Like, because who wants to think when they play chess? And we just go all-out attack, okay? Just flying everything up the board, sacrificing pieces, brilliancies, blunders, you name it, this video has it. And if you go on to enjoy it, guys, please, smash that like button, okay? I would be eternally grateful. And if you could subscribe as well, because, like, I don't know, like 80% of you that watch these videos aren't subscribed, and it's starting to break my heart. Yes, you that never interacts with the video, likes, comments, or subscribes. I appreciate you viewing, I love you dearly, but please, subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. But guys, on a real note, if you do go on to enjoy this video, do everything I just said. We're going to jump straight into game number one, okay, where I have the white pieces against my main man, Lioc's 12 from Italy, and I was currently situated at about 1344, so we were on a bit of an elo climb, okay? These are rapid games, we were doing pretty well. I, of course, play the move e4, okay? I'm a man of culture, okay? This is just what I do. My opponent responds with e5, very symmetrical position out the opening, and then we get f3, knight f3 and knight c6, and so now I can literally do whatever I want. I've been experimenting with a Ponziani. I'm partial to an Italian. I love the Scotch. But my bread and butter, people, is the Ruy Lopez, the Spanish opening, okay? Especially when you want to be playing attacking chess. Just go for the gut immediately. Now, my opponent can respond here in a number of ways. They play a6, which is known as the Morphy defense. Now, if I take this knight, it's obviously the exchange variation. If I just drop my bishop back, which I do, this is known as the Columbus variation. Now, this is what I always play against a6 because I want to keep my bishop on the board because I want to get it to this more active diagonal for when they castle, so then I can just start attacking, okay? My opponent goes into this Steinitz variation with the move d6. I mean, this is very, very common stuff. If you play the Ruy Lopez, you'll be familiar with literally all of these moves. I then just short castle. My opponent develops their bishop to reinforce this knight, so I just play knight to c3. They play knight f6, and now I bring my bishop back to this more active diagonal. Now, as you can see, the eval bar, very, very even game thus far. No one's really made any mistake in accuracy. Nothing crazy has happened just yet, but guys, this is where everything starts to just collapse, okay? Because my opponent plays the move h6. Now, when my opponents play moves like h6, or even like a6, I see this as a little trigger in my brain, okay? When they give me a little hook, okay? Something I can attack, something at some stage maybe I can sacrifice a piece. I get excited, okay? I get very, very excited. I then play d4, okay? d3 is also probably an option here, but I like just to play d4, just lash out in the centre. My opponent takes, so I take back with the knight, and now they don't opt to trade again. They just develop their bishop preparing to castle. So I play rook e1, preparing to launch this pawn up the board, and now my opponent short castles. Bishop f4 is played, and you guys can already see, okay, if you're long-term viewers of this channel, you know I want to put this queen behind. I want to lift my rook. I want to sack this bishop. Okay, I'm already planning this all out in my head. They play knight to e5, just centralizing the knight. Queen to d2. Okay, we are just preparing to sacrifice it all. Okay. They bring their rook over to the centre. I lift my rook. Okay, I told you guys. I'm just going for the gut. I just want to kill this person, okay? I don't even want to play chess anymore. I just want to attack, okay? If this was over the board, I'd have jumped the table and got them in a headlock. I wouldn't have done that because they would have likely mauled me. But, you know, the idea's there. Now, when they play knight to g4, I calculated a couple of things. I calculated putting my rook on g3, and then them putting their knight here. Onto h5, and then me just going back to rook f3. Still very active lift. I also looked at some other things, like just dropping back to rook e2, maybe at some stage preparing to double stack and then launch this pawn, just as attacking as possible, but I did opt to go rook to g3. Now, obviously my opponent can just play knight h5 here, but they don't. My opponent plays h5, and you can see that eval bar flying up in favour of me now, but only if I find the move h3, which I find. I find h3 kicking this knight away. Now, this knight has to go back to e5, obviously, because if it goes back to h6, you might be wondering, well, why is that bad? It's defended by the pawn. Well, it's actually not, because my rook is currently pinning this pawn, so I could just take that knight for free. So my opponent, of course, plays knight to e5. My opponent completely blunders here. And you can see that eval bar has absolutely skyrocketed in my favour. No complaints here, I was very, very happy. But although I'm up a piece, I am situated in 1300 elo, okay? So even if you're up a piece, it doesn't really matter. Like, if you guys are a similar elo to me, you'll know. You just don't resign ever, okay? Even if you have nothing on the board, there is hope, okay? I pick up this knight for free, of course I do, and now my opponent plays this move, a g6. Obviously just not reinforcing, just defending the g7 square from my bishop and rook, which looked very, very scary, I must say. Here, I didn't see this, okay, but I'm going to show you guys this absolutely disgusting line where you can actually just completely sacrifice the rook. Like, what? How the hell can you just sacrifice the rook? And it's actually because, if they go here, there's actually a forced mate with bishop g7, king goes back to g8, pick up this knight, king f8, and then queen comes over for mate. Now, obviously, I did not see this, and let's just say they played king h7 instead. Well, I'm just up a pawn. My bishop can go to g7, just like cutting off even more squares from the king. The knight will jump back to defend the h6 square. My other bishop comes in. Like, just look how unpleasant this looks for my opponent. It just looks horrific. So they play g6. I don't sack the rook. I just bring my knight towards the attack. I wasn't overly sure what to do, so I just sort of thought to myself, if I can just bring even more pieces into the game, and I'm just going to draw some arrows to show you guys the squares in which I control currently around their king. Like, this pawn is potentially going to push as well. Like, it looks very, very scary. And in this position, my opponent drops their bishop back, but now there's forced mate in 5, and it starts with rook takes on g6. And do I find it? No, of course I don't. However, I take this bishop, and if my opponent recaptures this bishop, it's going to be a very dark day for my opponent, because I'll just show you guys. Because they do in fact recapture. And now you'll see there's forced mate in 2 on the board. Comment down below if you can see the mate in 2. It of course starts with this move, queen h6 check. Okay, the king has to move back over, and then just queen to g7 is checkmate. So guys, that's game number 1. I promised you guys an all-out war. I feel like I kind of delivered there. Okay, so smash that like button. We're of course going to jump straight into game number 2. In which my elo has taken yet another jump. So in this first game we're at 1344, this game we're at 1370, playing against JTE Meat Run from France. Meat Run. That sounds pretty insane, doesn't it? Let's put a pin in that sentence. I get the white pieces again, so of course e4. Guys, I told you in the first game, I'm a man of culture, okay? I play e4. They play e6, the French defence. Now, I have an expansive repertoire against the French defence. I obviously don't. I'm 1300. I'm a moron. Okay, I don't have a clue what's going on. But it seems fitting that my opponent from France plays the French defence. I just develop my knight. They play d5, so I go into this exchange variation. And now, sort of from here, if they don't play knight f6, I don't really know move orders or anything. But luckily they do, so I go into this Monte Carlo variation with c4. And past here, this is where things start to slip away for me a little bit in the French, so guys, comment down some insightful YouTube videos or courses that you think would help me out in the French defence, because I face it a lot. I just struggle with it, man. I really do. They play this move c6, just reinforcing the d5 pawn. I develop my knight to c3. They develop their bishop. I bring my bishop out to g5, just basically pinning this knight. They bring their bishop out, preparing short castling, and now I make a trade in the centre. So we have a nice open c-file. Eval bar slightly creeping up for me a little bit there, but nothing worth noticing, sorry. I bring my light square bishop out, so we've both just really prepared for castling. And they play h6, guys. And I told you in the first game, I love these hooks that I can target, man. Especially when they've short castled. I absolutely love it. So I drop my bishop back to e3. They short castle. Queen to d2, preparing just to launch an all-out attack. But this time, the good thing about it is I have a light square bishop here as well, and a knight that can prepare to jump itself in, and a h-pawn that can prepare to fly up the board. I've not committed to castling yet, so king safety is not an issue for me. I just don't care. Knight c6 is played. Oh dear. And then I take this pawn. I mean, you see the eval bar absolutely flying down, but like, it's not even that big a deal because, like, I mean, sure, they can just take this bishop, which they do, but I take back with the queen, and then they play this move, bishop to g4. And now you see the eval bar fly up in my favour. But let me just show you guys the line where it's advantageous for them. So they're actually meant to play this move, knight to e4, sorry, which on its own looks completely insane because it looks like I can just take, pawn takes, and then bishop takes, but then there's actually this move bishop to f5. And then you might be going, well, that's just a free bishop. Well, it's actually not because of queen a5. Giving a check and also preparing just to pick up this bishop again. The light square bishop can't defend this check on the dark squares, so I don't know what I'd play, probably like king f1, and then they just pick up this bishop. So, like, material here completely equal. I can't castle. Their king's not overly safe, but, like, for them to know it's a mistake, they'd have to have calculated all of that. And at 1300, that just isn't really an option. So when I take this, they play the move bishop to g4, which is a mistake. And now I play the move knight to g5. And this is just terrifying because although they defend the h7 square, I have 3 pieces currently attacking it. So, like, it's defended twice by the knight and king, which just isn't enough. Here, they need to play the move knight takes on d4, apparently. Because then if I give this check, king can go to h8. And then it just wants me to short castle. Like, what? That's just absolutely insane. But instead of instead of, what did I just say, knight takes on d4, they played this move rook to e8. And you can see the eval bar is now giving checkmate in 3. And guys, we like a checkmate in 3. I'm partial to it, okay? Will I find it, though, is the question. Because it's actually not overly clear, the first step. You actually have to give a check on h7 with the bishop, and unfortunately, I do find it. Of course I find it. I'm a robot, okay? I'm the greatest chess player. No, let's stop. Let's stop immediately. That clearly isn't true. So they can obviously take with the knight, but if they do that, I'll just show you this line. It's just completely crushing. No, they have to go this way, and then this is mate. So obviously they probably saw that taking with the knight just doesn't really lead anywhere, but they go to h8, and obviously I'm threatening mate in 1, just taking this pawn, but I wanted to do things a little bit differently, okay? I found a mate in 2, which I much preferred, because it's a bishop checkmate, which sounds a little bit more fun than a knight checkmate, because we always see knight checkmates. I mean, you look at like a smothered mate, I mean, it's very, very common, but a bishop checkmate, not very common. So obviously it starts with this move bishop to g6, king has to slide over, and then we play the beautiful bishop takes on f7, and the king just has nowhere to run because the queen cuts every square off, this knight defends the bishop which attacks this king. Guys, I promised you attacking chess. I feel as though I have delivered. Now you got to do your part, like and subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, I mean, we upload daily, so stick around to the channel. I know you guys will love it. We upload videos like this like once a week. We play a lot of live chess, a lot of 4-player chess, a lot of Fog of War, a lot of recaps on the channel with competitive chess. So guys, check it all out. I'm going to love you and leave you. See you in the next one. Goodbye.